Astlas. If you spell her last name backwards, it's Saltzman. Amastlas. So the picture on the front of this. Oh, there is an airplane up there. I knew I heard a fucking airplane. See? Airplane. It's a pretty big airplane for flying that low. Alright, so Chris, tonight, wanted to push housing like it's fucking crack again. He just can't get his head past that one little part. And all the time that I've known him, it all comes back around to that. None of the rest of it matters. All goes in one ear and out the other in exchange for more stories from him and him pushing housing like crack. Everybody pushes housing like it's crack. I'm not against housing. We can fill out the housing paperwork. But we need to worry about my safety and the preservation of the fucking evidence. As far as just filling out paperwork, no, it's not just filling out paperwork. These people pretend that everything that I say is some figment of my fucking imagination. So I need these pieces of shit to fucking step up and say, no, it's not a figment of his fucking imagination. If you can tell that I'm not schizophrenic within 10 minutes of starting a conversation with me, well, yeah, maybe it's a good idea to fucking speak up about it. If you can tell that I'm not a fucking retard within 5 minutes of starting a conversation with me, then yeah, that's something you should probably speak up about. Lots of my so-called friends made all sorts of fucking promises, didn't keep their word, and then, of course, did what I expected them to do. Play victim when you get busted. Oh, Sean, how dare you show that I lied to you? Sean, how dare you record it in a conversation and post it up on the internet? And I'm like, how dare you tell me anything you wasn't going to tell the public or the police? And how dare you play victim after playing fucking retarded? I got pretty emotional today. Not just on the internet, but actually at Chris. But my voice wasn't elevated because I was emotional at Chris. My voice was elevated because he just mopped the floor. And then there was a whole bunch of space between Chris and I that I had to speak across and over the top of the fucking TV. So is it a matter of I'm a hateful person who wants all sorts of nasty shit to happen to Chris? No. Not even close. Now there's people that I hope karma gets them. But I don't believe in karma, which is why I try to do something. Not after I'm dead, but here and now while I'm still on this planet. There's a lot of parents that were unfit fucking parents. I told you I can do things that parents can't do. They have to be afraid. Well, I have to be afraid too. But I don't have to be afraid of having my kids taken away. So when them kids are having to deal with the same shit that I had to deal with growing up, I'm able to speak up. I'm not safe to drive tonight. And it's not safe for me to stay in this parking lot any night. There are a lot of tweakers out. One of them was pretty loud, so I waited for him to leave before I started this video. It didn't take very long. Now you notice how Chris couldn't quite wrap his head around anything that I was trying to explain to him. He did talk about Christian a little bit. One of the stories he told last time I was in town, he was telling me, he said, "You know why Christian doesn't come in here anymore?" I said, "No, why?" He said, "Well, a lady came in and she was apologizing to me because some guy was under a blanket smoking meth right outside of the door, and she went up and kicked the shit out of him. And so she was apologizing for kicking the shit out of some black tweaker under a blanket right outside of the door." So when Chris asked Christian about it, Christian said, "No, I wouldn't do that to you. I got more respect for you than that. And if I did do that, I'd do it under a blanket." Fuck. "I'd do it under a blanket so nobody could see me," he said. Like when he was sitting outside of my car doing that, even though I let him know I wasn't okay with that. There's a lot of people that are real liberal about using the N-word too, and I tell them I'm not okay with that. I don't like that word. Today we got to hear from Anna. There's a few people from McDonald's that have spoken to me about how much that sucks. A couple of people from over at the Starbucks next to the Denny's too. Some of the people worked at Fred Meyer's as well. I overexerted myself up there in the mountains. It's not really safe for me to drive back up there. Especially not this time of night. Now, with all these agencies, I can tell when the staff members are playing stupid or trying to pull the wool over my eyes. So that's not their benefit. I can also tell when they're starting to get annoyed and they're going to start playing victim if I come back. So with most of these services, once they get to the point where they're doing them precursors, showing me them red flags that show that if I keep trying to get them to follow the law, they're going to do some wrong shit. This is what forces people to have to break the law. Being victimized to the point that you have to break the law. Victimized. You think I want to have my stuff in a hole out in a fucking national forest, fucking 30 miles from anything? Fuck no. You want honestly believe that I really want to put that much wear and tear on a vehicle that's been good to me? Sure, it's cost me a ton of money, but that's because I'm using it excessively and I don't have the money to maintain it. That's just in parts and tools. Because obviously, if I ain't got the money for the parts and tools, I certainly don't have the money to pay somebody else to install it for me. Sometimes I do need help because there's stuff that I know better than to tear into. I know there's some stuff on a car that I can fix. I also know that there's a lot of stuff that I can't fucking identify. I don't know what it goes to or what it comes from. I don't know what it's supposed to be or supposed to look like. I know in concept how something is supposed to work. A lot of times from reading books growing up. Like I said, I grew up in the system. I was constantly being shipped around from place to place. I had to learn to be funny so I could get friends. Make friends quickly. When you go to a lockup facility, the most important thing you can do is make friends. Now they say, if you just stay to yourself, people will leave you alone. No, that's not true. Especially in a juvenile facility. In an adult facility, you've got a bunch of people that are selfish assholes. They might let you be left alone, but they might punk you for your yard time. Alright, I just found a big bathroom. I have an old antifreeze container. Oh, I could pee in it for a month. Fucking A. There's nowhere to go pee this time of night anyway. Oh. Anyway, Chris means well. There is no doubt about that. There's a lot of people that mean well, but you need to not get hung up on your own stuff. Just like everybody else, he is hung up entirely on the housing thing, not at all on turning in the crimes. And just like everybody else that I run into in this town, he wants to tell me horror stories about these cops. Like, you're going to tell me these horror stories, but you're not going to turn them in? All these people who say it won't do any good, what do they have in common? They're poor people. They are poor people. Anyway, I'm not going to be able to make it up the mountain tonight. I'm going to have to try to sleep in my car. Obviously, that doesn't work out too good. So, if it doesn't work out too good, I apologize if I get up in the morning fucking groggy and pissed off. I'm gonna make sure that my phone doesn't fucking die. I might have to use it for an emergency in the morning. Or at some point tonight if the cops decide to be douchebags. Seems to be a lot of people who claim to not know how to do stuff that magically they know how to do. Out of nowhere, they magically know how to do these things that they claim they didn't know how to do. It's a lot different than situations having to run around and beg people to show me how to do that stuff. Please teach me how. Like, do people really believe that I want to go run around breaking the law ever? No, I don't want to fucking break the law. I want to be left the fuck alone. Being homeless is not being left the fuck alone. Being homeless is being told over and over and over again that you're not allowed to exist anywhere. The library doesn't open until late tomorrow. I think it's like 10 o'clock that it opens. I can probably look it up. Anyway, for Chris, he was hung up on his friend in Eugene. And the guy, Stuart, who runs the place, or owns the place. And yeah, that is what I need. There's stuff that I can contribute to an environment like that. I can still contribute, but I can't take care of myself. There's things that I can do, but I can't do those things every day. I can't jump through those hoops every single day. When somebody says, hey man, if you help me today, I can help you tomorrow. Well, it better be the help that I need if I'm helping you with the help that you need. Also, if it's a thing where you're needing me to do some manual labor, I might be able to do some manual labor, but not much. And if I do manual labor for you or with you, keep in mind that I am hurting myself a lot in doing so. I am in severe pain because I'm trying to help you out. Severe quantities of pain. I hurt all the time. A lot of you know what I mean when I say that. A lot of you with back pain. You know exactly what I'm talking about when I say being driven crazy. You know all about people telling you, oh, why don't you get back on the horse and go back to work? Meanwhile, you're taking abuse. Going back to work is not going to stop that abuse. It's not going to improve your situation. There's a lot of people that are dead because I was not heard. And many of those people are my friends and loved ones. The people who should have cared enough to hear me. A lot of the witnesses from my stories are dead. Of course, they didn't fight for me at all while they were alive. Why do I miss them if they were such shitty friends? Because at least they paid attention to me. Somewhat. Sure, it was all to talk about them, but at least they pretended like I mattered for a little bit of it. But my experiences are blown off. That's the point with people wanting to push housing like it's crack. So busy changing the subject to housing so many times. Do you not realize that all the stuff that I'm telling you about, these are things that impact somebody for the rest of their lives? You can't just let it go and expect somebody else to pick it up. When you've got an at-risk and disabled adult on the streets, keep in mind that you may like that homeless person, but unless you lift a finger to explain that that homeless person is a person, that's right, that's what we need from you. We need you to explain to these people who are in charge that we are human beings too. But we're so not human beings to you that the trivial things in your life, super trivial things, are far more important than any human life. A lot of mandated reporters refused to do their jobs as mandated reporters because they didn't want to lose their jobs. How fucked up is that? Anyway, I'm at 25% battery. The thing is, Chris may mean well, but he's not doing well. And it's not because he intends to be some sort of a ginormous douchebag for no good reason. It's not like he's part of some big giant government conspiracy to screw over Sean. It's the matter that he gets stuck too. And when you guys get stuck like that, you've got an opinion that you're holding on to. And that opinion that you're holding on to is so pleasant. I should have had housing at 18. I never should have been dropped off in a world that hates me just for existing. Everywhere I go, it's you can't stay here, you need to move along, you need to move along. Even if I make friends, I don't get to keep them. And for every time Chris talks to me, there's between 3 and 5 addicts that I ran into before I even get to see them on any given day. Not all of those addicts are predatory. Some of them are just neglectful. Anyway, one of the other things y'all might have noticed, I do accept help when it's offered, especially if it's help that I need. But if there's safety issues there, those safety issues need to be resolved before I can go back. These different agencies, they're not pulling their weight. They're not doing their jobs. And without you getting actively involved, that's the way that it stays.